A deer can smell you, freeze for half a second, and then vanish into the trees before you have even decided whether your phone camera is open. A bird may leave a branch long before your footsteps reach it. Even animals that outweigh us, outrun us, or could injure us badly often keep their distance. Why? The short answer is not that every animal is born terrified of every person. Some animals are curious. Some are used to people. Some are dangerous precisely because they have stopped avoiding us. But across much of the wild world, humans are a problem animals have learned to take very seriously. We are not especially fast, strong, furry, or impressive at wrestling. We are, however, astonishingly good at turning knowledge, cooperation, and tools into danger. This video asks a simple question with a surprisingly large answer. Why do so many animals treat humans as a threat? The answer begins with an animal's basic job. Every day it must find food, avoid being eaten, protect its young, and save enough energy to do it again tomorrow. Running away has a cost. Staying put can have a much bigger one. For an animal, fear is not cowardice. Fear is information. A rustle in grass might be wind, a snake, or a hungry cat. A distant shape might be harmless, or it might become a terrible story told by nobody because nobody survived to tell it. Natural selection favors animals that make reasonably good risk decisions, not animals that wait around for perfect proof. That is why many animals use a safety buffer. When a person comes within a certain distance, they stop feeding, raise their heads, move away, hide, or fly. Scientists call one common measure flight initiation distance, the point at which an animal decides that leaving is safer than staying. It is not a fixed number. It changes with the species, the place, the season, the animal's age, whether it has young, and what humans have done there before. A rabbit in a quiet park may let a jogger pass nearby. The same rabbit, or a similar one, in a place with hunting may sprint sooner. That difference matters. Animals are not simply reacting to the outline of a human body like a cartoon character seeing a ghost. They can learn from repeated encounters, from sounds, smells, movement, habitat changes, and the behavior of other animals around them. Humans are unusual predators because we do not hunt in just one way. Wolves chase, crocodiles ambush, hawks dive. Humans can walk for hours, set traps, use dogs, make noise, stay silent, hunt at night, hunt from a distance, travel by boat, drive along roads, and return tomorrow with friends. From an animal's point of view, that is not one predator with one rule. It is a whole toolbox wearing shoes. For most of human history, people hunted, trapped, and fished wild animals for food and materials. In more recent history, people have also killed animals for trade, sport, pest control, or because the animals competed with us. The details differ from place to place, but the pattern is broad enough that many species have encountered humans as a direct lethal threat. Ecologists sometimes call humans super predators. The phrase does not mean people are magically stronger than every other predator. It means humans can kill many kinds of animals, across land and water, often at high rates, using methods that other predators do not have. A fox can be dangerous to a rabbit. A human can be dangerous to rabbits, foxes, deer, fish, birds, and sometimes the predators that scare all of them. That reach changes the landscape. Imagine a meadow as a map of food and danger. A deer does not see only grass. It sees cover, escape routes, scent, wind direction, other deer, and places where trouble usually appears. If people hunt near a trail, cross a field every morning, or leave the smell of vehicles and smoke, animals may treat those places as risky even when no person is visible. This is called a landscape of fear. The phrase sounds dramatic, but it describes a practical calculation. Animals may feed less in exposed places, become more watchful, shift their activity to darker hours, or choose routes that feel safer. Fear can change where animals live, when they move, and how much time they can spend eating. In the wild, being nervous is sometimes a survival strategy. It is also exhausting. Research across many species shows a general pattern. Where humans pose a direct lethal threat, animals often increase vigilance and reduce foraging. In plain English, they spend more time checking for danger and less time eating. But this is not a universal law with a giant red stamp. Responses vary. Some animals become very cautious. Some seem to recognize which places, seasons, or types of people are most dangerous. Others become used to harmless human activity. That last part is important because it stops us from telling a lazy story. A city pigeon may stroll around a person's shoes as if it owns the pavement. A raccoon may inspect a trash bin with the confidence of a tiny masked tax accountant. These animals are not proving that humans are harmless. They are showing that experience matters. If food is available and people rarely attack, avoiding every human can be more expensive than taking a calculated risk. Habituation is the word for becoming less responsive to something that repeatedly turns out not to be dangerous. It can happen around hikers, researchers, cars, or people in parks. But habituation is not friendship. An animal may tolerate people while still becoming stressed, while still avoiding them at certain times, or while still fleeing if the distance closes too quickly. And a habituated animal can create problems for both sides, because it may approach roads, homes, food, or people who are not prepared for it. Animals also notice behavior. A person walking steadily down a trail may be less alarming than someone moving directly toward them, staring, crouching, carrying a weapon, or making sudden sounds. In some studies, wildlife reacted more strongly to cues linked with hunting than to ordinary human presence. That makes sense. Risk is not just a species label. It is a set of clues. Consider sound. A human voice may travel through a forest before the person appears. Footsteps have a rhythm. Vehicles, dogs, gunshots, doors, and machinery add their own signals. Animals do not need a dictionary to understand every noise. They only need to learn which noises tend to predict danger. A warning system does not have to be perfect. It only has to work often enough to keep its owner alive. Smell works the same way. Many mammals live in a world built partly from scent trails. Human odor, smoke, fuel, food waste, dogs, and altered vegetation can all announce that people have been nearby. A deer may not think, in English, ah yes, the familiar fragrance of a commuter, but it can associate a scent with disturbance or danger and respond before it ever sees the source. Vision adds another layer. Humans stand upright, often move along predictable routes, and carry unfamiliar shapes. For prey animals, a direct approach can look like a hunting attempt, even if you are only trying to get a better photo. That is why wildlife guidelines often ask people to keep their distance. The animal is not being rude. It is trying to avoid paying for your curiosity with its energy budget. Social learning makes fear spread faster than personal experience alone. Young animals can learn from parents, and group-living animals can copy the alarm behavior of others. If one bird calls, the flock may lift off. If one antelope suddenly watches a ridge, others may watch too. That does not mean every warning is correct. It means the cost of one unnecessary escape can be lower than the cost of ignoring the one warning that mattered. Learning can even make animals seem strangely selective. In areas with hunting seasons, some species alter their movements when the season begins. They may become more nocturnal, avoid roads, use thicker cover, or change where they feed. They are not reading calendars pinned to trees. They are responding to recurring conditions. More people, more noise, more vehicles, more scent, and more danger. Humans are also hard to predict because our intentions are invisible. One person carries binoculars, another carries a camera, another carries groceries, another carries a rifle. To an animal, the safest starting assumption may be that the tall creature with hands is worth monitoring. This is especially true when the cost of being wrong is not embarrassment. It is death. But why fear people more than a wolf, lion, or bear in some places? One reason is that natural predators often have limits. They specialize in certain prey, hunt at certain times, and avoid injury because one bad kick can end their career permanently. Humans can use weapons in groups to reduce those limits. We can target large adults, juveniles, animals in water, animals in trees, and animals that would be too risky for a lone predator. Another reason is scale. A predator may kill to eat. Humans can kill for many motives, and human technology can make those actions efficient. That does not mean every person is a hunter, or that every encounter is deadly. It means the species-level history of human behavior can create strong pressure on animals to be cautious. In their risk calculations, the human problem has a very long user manual. There is a second twist. Humans do not only frighten prey. We can frighten other predators too. Big cats, bears, coyotes, and many smaller carnivores may avoid areas or times when people are active. Sometimes that protects them from direct conflict. Sometimes it changes their hunting patterns. A mountain lion that leaves a kill because people arrive is not suddenly less hungry. It has simply been reminded that the meal comes with a terrifying customer service department. This can ripple through an ecosystem. If a predator avoids a trail, its prey may use that area more. If deer avoid open ground near people, plants in another area may receive more browsing. If animals become nocturnal, they may encounter different competitors and food sources. Fear is not only a feeling inside one animal. It can become a force that rearranges time, space, and opportunity. Still, we need to be careful with the phrase, animals are scared of humans. Fear is difficult to measure directly. Scientists often measure behavior instead: how long animals watch, how quickly they leave, where they feed, when they move, or how their stress-related hormones change. Those clues are useful, but they are not a tiny window into an animal's private thoughts. We should not pretend a squirrel is writing a memoir called My Terrible Neighbor with the Leaf Blower. The evidence also has gaps. Many studies focus on a limited set of species and places. Different animals respond differently to hunting, tourism, roads, cities, and settlement. Some species may underreact. Some may overreact. Some may be so used to people that a quiet human barely registers until a dog appears or someone gets too close. The honest answer is not that all wildlife fears all humans equally. There are animals that approach people because people provide food, shelter, or an easier life. Urban foxes, gulls, monkeys, bears, and other adaptable species can become bold. This boldness may look funny online right up until an animal bites someone, gets hit by a car, eats harmful food, or is killed as a nuisance. A fearless animal is not always a thriving animal. Sometimes it is an animal being pushed into a risky bargain. Young animals face a particularly difficult version of this problem. They have to learn what deserves fear and what does not. Too much fear wastes energy. Too little fear can be fatal. Parents, siblings, group members, and experience all help build that judgment. In that sense, an animal's caution around humans is not merely instinct. It is often the result of a long conversation between evolution, memory, and the local neighborhood. Evolution provides the basic equipment: sharp senses, a startle response, the ability to learn, and a tendency to avoid patterns linked with danger. Individual learning then tunes that equipment. A deer born in one forest may live by different rules from a deer in another. One has learned that people remain on trails. Another has learned that trails are where danger begins. Same species, different rulebook. Human behavior can make that rulebook kinder or harsher. Protected areas, hunting regulations, quiet zones, wildlife crossings, careful tourism, secure trash, and keeping dogs under control can reduce unnecessary risk. None of these erase the history of human danger. But they can make our present-day signal clearer. This place is not a trap. The opposite is also true. Chasing animals for photos, feeding wildlife, leaving food waste, driving too fast, approaching nests, and ignoring seasonal closures teach animals the wrong lessons or give them no safe lesson at all. If you want to see wildlife, the best encounter is usually one in which the animal can choose what happens next. Distance is not boring. Distance is respect with binoculars. There is another reason this caution can be so durable. Humans change the rules faster than many animals can evolve. A forest that was quiet last year may gain a road. A riverbank may gain boats. A field may become a suburb. The animal does not need to understand zoning laws to notice that its safe route now contains headlights, fences, dogs, and people who appear at unpredictable times. Learning is often the quickest defense available. This does not mean that wildlife has a single shared memory of humanity. Natural selection acts across generations while learning happens within a lifetime, and those two processes are easy to blur together. Some animals may have inherited broad sensitivities to upright threats or sudden approach. Others learn almost everything locally. The safest explanation is usually a combination. Evolution built a flexible alarm system, and experience teaches that system what deserves its attention. That flexibility can be remarkably detailed. An animal may tolerate a farmer on a familiar tractor but flee from a person on foot. It may ignore hikers during the day but avoid the same trail after dark. It may use a park when families are present and abandon it when dogs are unleashed. These differences are not proof that animals can read human minds. They show that animals can connect repeated cues with outcomes, which is exactly what good survival learning is supposed to do. The costs of that learning are real. Every time a bird leaves a food patch early, it loses feeding time. Every time a deer waits in cover, it may miss the best plants. Every time a predator avoids a busy area, it may travel farther before finding prey. Caution helps avoid catastrophe, but it can also quietly drain time and energy. That is why ecologists care about fear even when no animal is visibly injured. Time is one of the clearest places to see this trade-off. In many landscapes, animals become more active at night when people are common during the day. Night can offer a calmer window, but it can also change temperature, visibility, food access, and competition. A species that normally shares daylight with people may effectively be pushed onto a different shift. Nature does not issue overtime pay. Protected areas can help, but they do not create a complete wall between wildlife and human influence. A reserve may contain trails, visitors, roads, neighboring farms, or nearby hunting pressure. Animals can respond to that patchwork in fine detail, using quiet pockets and avoiding exposed corridors. This is why conservation is not only about drawing a boundary on a map. It is also about making the space inside and around that boundary usable without constant alarm. The same principle explains why one close encounter should not become a verdict about an entire species. A bold fox is not evidence that foxes never fear humans. A fleeing fox is not evidence that every fox is terrified. Individual personality, hunger, age, health, past experience, group size, season, and nearby cover can all matter. Wildlife behavior is a moving calculation, not a personality quiz with one permanent answer. Even domesticated animals show how strongly experience shapes the meaning of a human. A well-socialized dog may greet a stranger, while a feral dog may keep a large distance. Farm animals can learn routines, voices, feeding times, and handling cues. Wild animals have the same basic problem with fewer guarantees. Identify what this particular human situation means before it becomes too late. The fact that some animals learn to trust certain people does not cancel the danger of unfamiliar or harmful encounters. It highlights how precise their learning can be. People sometimes assume an animal that does not run away is relaxed. That is not always true. Freezing, watching, changing posture, or slowly moving behind cover can also be signs of risk assessment. A bird may stay still because flying would reveal it. A deer may stare because it is deciding where to escape. A predator may retreat only after you pass. Behavior is a language with dialects, and scientists have to measure carefully rather than translating every pause as calm or every escape as panic. The practical lesson is refreshingly simple. Give wildlife space before it has to ask for it. Stay on designated paths, keep noise down. Do not offer food, store garbage securely, and follow local advice around nests, dens, and large animals. Those small choices reduce sudden confusing encounters. They also let us observe the best part of wildlife. Not an animal performing for us, but an animal doing the difficult, ordinary work of being itself. That approach benefits people as well. Wildlife that has a clear escape route is less likely to feel cornered, and cornered animals can make dangerous choices. Respecting distance lowers the chance of bites, defensive attacks, vehicle collisions, and unnecessary conflict. It also produces better observations. When we stop trying to make an animal come closer, we can notice what it chooses to do, where it looks, how it moves, what it avoids, and how it fits into the larger place around it. In other words, a respectful encounter does not need a close-up. It needs patience. The animal keeps control of its distance, and we get to see behavior that has not been forced into a performance. That is a much better deal for everyone involved. So, are animals scared of humans because we look strange? Sometimes unfamiliar shapes and direct movement may trigger caution. Are they scared because we are predators? Often, yes. Are they scared because they have learned that people can mean noise, dogs, roads, traps, habitat loss, or food? Also, yes. The answer is not one fear. It is a layered risk assessment built from ancient biology and very modern experience. That is why a deer runs, a bird lifts off, or a fox pauses at the edge of a street. They are not necessarily judging you as an individual villain. They are responding to a world in which humans have repeatedly been powerful, unpredictable, and sometimes lethal. Their caution is not irrational. In many places, it is the sensible result of paying attention. And there is something useful in that thought. Wild animals do not need us to be their friends. They need us to be understandable, distant when necessary, and less dangerous than we have often been. The goal is not to make every animal comfortable around people. The goal is to leave room for them to be wild. If this changed how you see the animal that flees when you get close, leave a like and subscribe for more stories about the hidden logic of the natural world. And next time a bird escapes before you reach it, do not take it personally. It has probably met our species before. Thanks for watching.